Remember that when I say embargo until today. We have around 100 vehicles in armored vehicles held in Benin, at the gates of Cotton, on the banks of the Cotton River. Conquering sovereignty means first and foremost exploiting national resources for the benefit of our people.
Families, welcome back once again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We are in Niger. A lot is going on in Niger. Niger State Minister General Salifou Mody has been interviewed on RTN. He revealed a lot of secrets. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. According to the news, they will be interviewing all of them, the leaders, one by one, the reason why they left ECOWAS and CDAO, and a lot more. So you know how they do it. They want the citizens to know what is going on, not only the citizens, but according to him, Africans home and abroad to know what is going on. Yes, families have worked on it. I will leave you to listen to it to the end, and I'll be back. God bless you, all my returning families, my new ones, my VIPs, my kings and queens. Thank you so much. I'll be with you soon, families. If you are new here, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to support the channel. See you, families. I'll be back.
It's the gentleman. You talk for a moment about the advent of the AS, which was an excellent thing for our 3 states. So, Mr. State Secretary, we're in the AES Confederation with our brothers from Mali and Burkina Faso. There was talk of setting up a joint force and military operations. How are the 3 countries doing in the fight against terrorism and transnational organized crime, Minister? State, yes. The advent of the AES, you know, started with this defense issue. We're in the same space. We're facing the same type of threat, particularly from criminal groups. We had to pool our efforts, because when a terrorist leaves one country to go to another, he's hunted down. You can't be safe, that's for sure. So on top of that, you remember China's Yahoo war against our country had it not been for Burkina Faso and Mali's stance. These countries plan to attack us. Which means the creation of the Alliance of Sahel States. Passport to safety. We now have a defense and security area. Who extends Bosso? At the border. Mauritania and stretching from the south to Mali. Right up to the borders. From Libya. In this space, our forces will now be able to intervene together. Or one force can call on the other, which has slightly more strategic means to defend. It's new. And making our space and our people safer. The Alliance of Sahel States. In its operationalization, the defense component has already worked on and put in place a certain amount of planning, notably at the level of the armed forces of the 3 countries, and the various chiefs of staff of the armed forces meet on a regular basis to improve coordination. And the unified force? Who's practically ready for this unified force? At a strength of 5,000 men, this unified force will not only have its own personnel, but its less airborne, its ground resources, its intelligence resources. And of course its coordination system. An expedition force. A force that can be deployed. everywhere in Hesse. We're working on it, and the chiefs of staff have already finished their planning. And it's just a matter of weeks before that force is there. Be visible in the field, but we've already started operations. Be it between Burkina and Niger, or three-way operations, or operations in support of one country or another. And it works very well. It's not a cumbersome system to set up. And above all, it's easy to understand. And capacity? The work that our officers in the three countries have to do to get our troops into the field and support these troops. Let's get back to the internals. Do you have an evaluation framework or mechanism? Performance in your department, and what are the results? In terms of control and assessment mechanisms, like all ministries, there are a number of mechanisms in place. Among other control mechanisms, evaluation, and I think the first appraiser of a security system, it's the population. And we're watching that despite the multitude of threats, despite the many crises surrounding the wolf, only the military, gendarmerie fans, la Sécurité ensures stability, and through the Armed Forces newsletter, which is published twice a week, Nigerians can get an idea of what's being done on the ground. As an example, for the year 2024 of Aircraft Daily, 18,000 men in the field every day. So it was last January 2024. We were at 12,000 years, and the numbers went up. Because it was necessary to reinforce and create a network. Even closer, narrower. For terrorists, but a marriage that's closer to the people. And I had to. For example, the right bank region, which is particularly troubled because it's a special region. A concentrated religion. And the reason why everything is concentrated is that this is an extremely rich region. Why? Everything is concentrated here. And it's also a region with a rather difficult geography. You have several rivers. The towns that separate a number of between two villages are maybe 5-10 kilometers apart. You're going to do 2H, 3H because you're going to cross rivers to get there. So it's a particularly difficult region geographically. It's a landlocked region. But it's an extremely rich region. This is a region that involves three countries, which goes some way to explaining the complexity of the situation there. Not to mention the dozens of illegal gold mining sites. And as you know, wherever there's gold, there's crime. That's what makes this area so special. So in this area, in the strategies, His Excellency the President of the CNSP has spoken of it very often, our main enemy. Gave instructions to the terrorists, not only to chase away the people prevented from farming. And it's the same on the other side of the river, on the left bank, the Tilleville region, because space is at a premium. The people had to be emptied, and the land had to be cleared. So the growth in headcount can be explained by creation. New gendarmerie units. And the creation of new military units. Because these people had to be able to stay at home, so that these populations can grow crops. And sometimes, The military had to go with them. People in the fields. Cultivate. Accompany them back. This naturally increased the numbers in May and after the harvest season. We had to help them harvest, we had to help them reap their harvest. And in 2024? Thank God the population can grow crops, whether in the Wala region or in the field region. There were also operations to secure strategic interests. It's all about protecting our mining sites. The oil and petroleum sites, as well as the pipelines, even if there are still acts of sabotage being perpetrated, but all these issues have still been taken into account, and that explains the creation. From this new force, the force of protection and development. The mission of this force will be to protect all these critical infrastructures and also to participate in development actions such as agriculture and livestock breeding, as well as the provision of services, and also to train people in manual labor or to build roads. It's a special force that reports to the Armed Forces General Staff. Like the Fire Department, like the Air Force. Yes, this force will be there to help. To develop their country, to help protect infrastructures of economic interest, fine. This is the first question, perhaps, of this interview. At the start of this interview, you mentioned the security situation before July 26th. So, Mr. Minister of State, could you give us a general idea of your feelings on the current security situation? So what we need to remember about the current situation is this. We are in one situation. Assumed safety. From safety assumed to safety undergone, we fully assume the security and defense of our country. But I was saying that before the 26th, it was a more or less undertreated security system under guardianship. Today, it's us. Defending our country with our genius and the means at our disposal. That's the situation and the feeling that we have as the yes of national defense. It's a feeling of satisfaction because the people of Niger are out in front. For once, Nigerians have confidence in their role, despite the threats mentioned earlier. Threats of destabilization on the left, embargoes on the right. Let me remind you that when I talk about embargoes up to now, we have around 100 vehicles in armored vehicles held in Benin, at the port of Coton, on the banks of the Coton River. Paul, unknown reason. We have the aircraft. Who is chosen? In countries. Western artists. It's like putting you on rice, tying your hands against an opponent. But despite all this, Niger's military. I asked the gendarmerie and fans. And the others fight on. For safety and stability. In our country, that's satisfaction. She is genuine. Because national defense. We get it. Commitment from our staff. Sons of Niger. Who is in the forces? Despite the sacrifice, these determined young people are ready to defend the country. Because many Nigerians are unaware of this reality. Another country faces up not to its superficial problems. It's beyond governance or a deposed president. Because our country, and special. The head of state often says our country is blessed. But our country? Strategic country. Strategic countries posing the greatest threat. For example, are you looking? In the countries. Africans. In Africa? Or even globally. It's rare to find a country that has all sources of energy. There's water. The river, the waterways. We have groundwater. Water is energy. In Niger, there's oil. Everyone knows this, it's for sure in Niger. 365 days a year, it's sunny. Yesterday, there's uranium. And when you look at all the wars in the world over energy, that's exactly why we're in Niger. We mustn't be superficial. We have to see what's going on around us, and in relation to that, we have to keep organizing ourselves. We must continue to take charge. Our security to invest in the safety and defense of our territories. So it's satisfying, and that's why all Nigerians need to be involved. Nigerians. From rural areas, Nigerians defend their property. I've given you just one example of this. And to defend that, you have to. Time to wake up. Liberals have to believe in their country, and it's up to us, as the defense and security effort, not only to face up to threats, but also to raise awareness and inform the rest of our population so that people understand that this asset we have at no cost, we have to leave it to someone else. Whoever wants to can collaborate with them, but they won't take it. And our satisfaction is all the greater for the defense and security effort. Unnotified. The false Nigerian armies defend first and continue to defend. And finally, we have Lenny Girl don't know. We have one army. Not only experienced, but one of the armies with the most competent officers? These officers have been trained globally. In Asia, the United States, Africa, and Europe, but his officers never had the chance. Over several years. To show what they can do. And I think 2024 was the opportunity. Show it a little. What we can do, what the officers know. But that's going to be an issue in the future. Do you have any final words before we bring this interview to a close? Mostly paying homage to honor the young activists in action. But paying tribute? And ask that our populations always remember the elements of the defense and security funds that fall in the field. These young people. So that we who are here, or those who are in town, can live, sleep more, go about our business. These men who have passed away deserve our gratitude. Our country, our compatriots, and their families. Families who have given children who have fought for their country must be respected. This, I think, is a tribute to them. There are opportunities to pay tribute to these young people who have lost their lives, so that others can live. I would like to thank the people of Niger for their contribution. More and more Nigerians understand that security isn't just the job of the armed forces or the defense and security forces, it's everybody's business. And their contribution is essential, through calls to inform about situations. This contribution is invaluable in helping us arrest criminals. With awareness raising and information. This contribution will go even further than that, but still, there's a big change between before July 26, 2023 and now in terms of our population's participation in security. And I also pay them a well-deserved tribute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Madam Monsieur. That's the end of this interview. Thank you for joining us for our next interview. On this same program, we're going to welcome the Minister of State, Minister of the Interior, Public Security and Territorial Administration. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.
As I was listening, I was thinking, they seize all those goods when they pretend they were helping the Nigerians when they put sanctions on them, when ECOWAS put sanctions on them. Togo has opened their sea port for them to use, and Benin did the same thing. I, for one, I praise them all the time for doing that, not knowing that during that time they have seized a lot of equipment that will help them to fight the terrorists. I think they did that because they wanted to attack Niger, and if they have those equipment, then they have upper hand. So let's keep it, and up to now they keep them, and this is our brothers and sisters. Yes, I wonder why the army officer, military officer is now crying after they have attacked them. Anyway, families, I will leave you here. Credit to RTN and Sahel Info for sharing this with us. I'll be back, families. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.